Hey everybody, Josh here, and welcome to the Go Therefore podcast. Today I had the privilege of sitting with Karen Carlton. She is a local Hagerman person. She's involved in disaster relief. She's involved in the local food pantry. She's been involved in children's ministry, and she was even a Presbyterian for a time. Anyway, we had a great conversation, and I thoroughly enjoyed our time together, and I appreciate her time, and I hope that you enjoy it as well.
Thank you, Jesus, for this podcast. Please use it to reach somebody lost.
And Jesus came and said to them, All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit.
To the
pantry.
I actually started when it first started up. I was at the very beginning. It started in the Methodist church. The ladies there were boxing up food, and I don't know where they were getting it. But anyway, and handing out boxes. And then they kind of asked the public, the town, to help. So several got together, and pretty soon after that, I think, but by that time I wasn't able to keep helping. I was still working full time, but I think pretty soon after that they moved into the old grocery store.
Oh, I see.
And we claim 20 years.
Over there where that is, that store, I remember just coming through Hagerman, there was the big store across the street there. Are you saying that was also a grocery store?
Yes, it was.
And
I don't know for how long, because we came in 78, and that was, both of them were growing big, doing real well. Mm-hmm. So that one may be older. He would cut meat. They did some at the other store, but I think at this one, where we are now, mm-hmm. he had a, locker and everything in there. And but both stores you could charge groceries, and I sent my kids down there lots of times. Get a loaf of bread and put it on our ticket, and just like the Mayberry or something.
Right. You say you came here in '78. Where did you come here from?
We are both born and raised in Carlsbad.
Oh, okay.
And Dennis was in the Air Force. He did 4 years or 3.5, and he wanted to come. We were in Montana. We loved it up there. And he made friends with some a rancher family. I think they would have hired him in a heartbeat, and I wanted to stay. But he still had all 4 of his grandparents in Carlsbad, and he wanted to come home. And his mom and dad. And he wanted to come home, so we did. And he went to the welding school in Roswell. Mm-hmm. Really liked the teacher, and the teacher really liked him, and the teacher was wanting to retire, so we went to Carlsbad, and he worked Dennis did for 3 or 4 years, I think, and then we came up here so he could be the welding instructor at the college, and it worked out real well. He thoroughly enjoyed it. Never had any teaching experience, but he is apparently a very good instructor. He still gets phone calls from former students, and he's been retired 25 years.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It is.
I know, I don't know how long ago, since you said 25 years, but I knew you and Callan.
Yes, he was there doing, wasn't he doing Job Corps for a while? Or he might not have been the one doing Job Corps. But I know that name. Dennis, he worked in that area with Dennis.
I know him from the prison. We have a welding program.
Oh, really?
And
is he teaching out there?
No, not anymore. Not in years. Now we have a guy from Lake Arthur named Juan Muniz. I don't know if you know him.
No, that name's not familiar. No.
But when it was those guys, when it was Mr. Callan, like he would bring those credentials and everything from the college, so those guys could leave there with a certificate
with something,
and try to
with
get a job
something, yeah. And I guess it's like everything else. Those papers are good. They'll get you in the door, but you better know something once you get there, you know. And you still learn. It's still welding is just not something you can learn in a classroom. It just isn't. I'm sure it's like medicine or something. You
Yeah,
know,
sure.
it's a lot of OJT, a lot.
Well, that guy, he tries to focus on what they might run into in this area in the oil field. or
Does he
something
have?
like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does he have pretty good setup? Lots of good equipment and.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I say that knowing nothing about it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean, yeah, to me it's impressive not knowing anything
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, boy, the college has really got an outstanding program. Lincoln, the welding manufacturer, has done a lot of it, I guess, and so it's pretty good now.
And-
Nothing like Dennis had
Oh yeah.
as far as the equipment and stuff.
Well, that guy, he'll try to teach them things that they can learn, like in the oil field or whatever. But then he says, like, if you're in a shop, just some weird things will come to you. So any weird thing we would have around there, like I had chairs, and the officers kept breaking the. I don't know how they break these chairs, but they kept breaking the part where you adjust it to raise it up and down. So I would take them over there, and he'd fix them and he'd weld them together or whatever. We had a safe one time we couldn't get into, and we'd lost the combination to, and he taught the guys how to get into it.
Because you got to have recognition of the metal that you're working with, and just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so I thought it was neat, that he was
it
teaching them
is.
things outside of that, or fixing a metal can or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mike does that too, right? Didn't he do something with the welding program out there?
Mike.
Lovejoy.
I don't guess I know him.
Or is he? Yeah, you know Mike Lovejoy.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how he's connected. He came and got Dennis and took him one night to their, what do you call them, like a civilian support. That's not at all what they call them.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, something like that. And Dennis Michael wanted Dennis to be a part of it, but he didn't want to. He's so retired.
Yeah.
But anyway, he enjoyed going out there though, and talking to Michael, and so.
I've been over there to his shop. He messes with those vices and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
He's got a neat kind
Really?
of hobby.
Really?
Yeah, messing with those. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to know how good his stuff is, but I mean, he displays it like it's
like it's good.
Yeah, that's the stuff you would want in that. I'm guessing.
Huh.
So okay, we'll get moving along here. Hello, this is Josh with the Go Therefore podcast. I'm here today with Karen Carlton. Karen, first of all, thank you for your time. I look forward to having this conversation with you. Now, we had talked a minute ago about Carlsbad. Is that where that's where you grew up? Is that where you were born and raised?
Born and raised, graduated, my husband and I both, from Carlsbad schools.
Yeah. Did you know each other then, or did you?
We, not until high school. Well, he was already in college at the college there in Carlsbad, and when we met.
Oh, I see.
So.
But did you go to church there? Was church an important part of your growing up, your young life?
Yes, I was 2 weeks old when I was on the cradle roll at First Baptist there in Carlsbad, and was a member all the way through until we left in '68.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And 68 is that when you left for the Air Force?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, how was that? Montana, is that pretty cold, I would imagine?
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Not everybody put in to go to Montana.
I bet not.
And for us it was absolutely wonderful. We got to go fishing and we got to go hunting, and that's what Dennis wanted, and we saw cold like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
But we also met families, native Montanans, and one family especially, they just really took us in. Dennis got to go and help them brand one year. They called to the air station. It was just a little station then, and they asked for airmen to come and help them. Mm-hmm. And Dennis was the only one who had any experience doing that, So I went with him, and we helped brand, and I think they really took to Dennis after that. And so he got to hunt in some private areas of the ranch that the other guys just didn't get to go to. And the same with the fishing. Mm-hmm. And we loved it. And in fact, we named our daughter after Mrs. Norman. We named her Hannah after her.
Oh,
so they made such an impression on us.
Did you guys live on on the base, or did you live?
No, it was too small for housing on base except for officers, and so
Oh, I
we
see.
lived in town, and of course met other airmen that were there and made lifelong friendships.
Absolutely.
It was a wonderful experience for us. It was right during Vietnam, of course,
Mhm.
and Dennis joined the Air Force, so hopefully he wouldn't have to serve in Vietnam, and he didn't.
Mhm.
So it was a completely different experience from a whole lot of people, but we
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was a real blessing, a real gift.
And how do you make those connections in town? Is the community open to the airmen? Because I always get the impression that the town's kind of over here in one area and the base is here, and they don't really want to. Man, these guys, they're loud and they're rowdy, and we don't
It
want to deal
certainly
with them.
can be that way. We started out in Biloxi. That's where
Mhm.
his school was, at Keesler Air Force Base. And I don't think the people were that welcoming of the airmen. I mean, they were glad to rent their, little apartments to us. They were glad to have the money that we spent in their stores. But after that, they were a little much more standoffish. But then we went to Lewistown in Montana. It's right in the middle of Montana, and they loved us. They were glad to see us. Everybody welcomed us. It was wonderful, just wonderful. So, like I say, it was a great experience for us. And, I mean, I was leaving home for the first time,
Mhm.
and 18 years old, and just everything was real good for us.
Yeah. How were the churches there compared to here?
There were no Southern Baptist churches, and I
Mhm.
was convinced that everybody else was a pagan.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's all I knew
Right.
was Southern Baptist, and they were Northern Baptist. So I called my pastor in Carlsbad, and I asked him, "Can I go to a Northern Baptist church?" And he said not to worry about it, that would be perfectly all right. So I did.
Nice.
I went to a Northern Baptist. We had been hearing their pastor on the radio,
Mhm.
and he had a real short little program on the radio, and we both liked him. Thought he
Mhm.
did a real good job, and so that's where we went.
That's neat. Is it basically the same at the
It
end of the day?
it was, but honestly, at 18, I didn't know that much about
Mhm.
I just didn't know that much about it. But I was comfortable there. I didn't hear anything that I thought was something I couldn't accept. So
Right. Did you serve over there? Did you?
no,
Just
I never
kind of a
did.
member?
Yeah, just a member.
And I'm assuming, I guess that's where y'all met some of your friends there too. Was through that?
No. Actually, they were just the guys met, and so we later, the wives we all got together, and only one couple that we were real close to had a child. The other couple didn't, and we didn't have any kids, so
Mhm.
we were free to go and do quite a bit, So. Um,
When did your family start? Just when you came back here, like your kids and stuff like that, or?
Well, yeah, we lived in we lived in Carlsbad, so I went back to my church in Carlsbad, and then after he'd been there for a few years working as a welder, and we came to Roswell for him to start the teaching job. Then we went to a Baptist church, Calvary Baptist in Roswell,
Oh, okay.
and took the kids and thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was a real good church, and then when we moved here. I probably shouldn't admit it, but I thought, well, we're going to Podunk,
Yeah.
and those people need me. I probably
Right.
shouldn't admit it,
Yeah.
but I found some of the best Bible teaching.
Mhm.
The ladies here just took us in. We had a Tuesday morning Bible study for the ladies.
Mhm.
It was just wonderful. It was great for where I was in my Christian walk, and
Mhm.
as a mother, and so it was great. It really was, and made lifelong friends here too.
Yeah. Did you start coming here right away when you
Right
came to
away.
Hagerman? Okay.
When we moved in, Dennis was installing the stove in the house,
Mhm.
and Isaac's brother, Walt Isaacs, came to the door to welcome us to town,
Mhm.
and I let him in, and he just walked right in and started helping Dennis.
Yeah.
That made such an impression on Dennis.
Yeah, I bet so.
And then another time, pretty soon after that, we were literally up on the roof of the house, and we looked around, and Walt was coming up the ladder,
Yeah.
getting on the roof to help us. He wasn't going to hold us up. He was going to help,
Yeah.
where he could. And that made a real impression on Dennis. And but yeah, I was very comfortable coming, and at the time, we had lots of members and lots of families and lots of kids, and it was a great place for my kids, and they were all 3 baptized in the church.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
That always look at that I don't know the proper name for it. I always look at the baptismal over there. Was there ever a time when people would get in that?
Oh, in the baptistry?
Yeah, because the way it is now, it has the tub in front, so
Oh.
the person will get in there.
Yeah,
and
they
stand
filled it.
behind them.
The water
Yeah.
was warm. Yeah, that's where all of my kids went through that water.
Hmm.
But yeah, I hadn't looked in there. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like there's like a separate tub
Huh.
that
Well, that's a lot
that
of
would
water.
stand behind.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of water to fill it with. But yeah, there was enough that it would slosh out on the people in the choir.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Uh-huh.
I always
Yeah.
wondered about that because there's such a big space. I
Yeah.
thought there had to be a story. Somebody cracked it or
yeah.
something had to have
Yeah,
happened
yeah. I
at
just
some
don't know.
point.
It might have sprung a leak or something. But it's like I say, it's just too much water. They don't need that.
Do you remember the time in your life, or were you so young when it happened? Do you remember coming to know Jesus? Do you remember?
Absolutely, I remember 15, and I just had a real clear understanding that if I died, I wasn't going to heaven. I mean, my name was on the membership roll.
Mhm.
I had been baptized,
Mhm.
but there was no follow through. I think I was under conviction at the age of 7.
Mhm.
I really do. But the adults did not follow through.
Mhm.
When I went forward, as Baptists do, if someone had prayed with me, if someone had just taken a little bit of time,
Mhm.
I think the pastor assumed my mother would, and my mother assumed the pastor would.
Mhm.
So it just didn't happen.
Right.
But at 15, when I realized I was not born again, I did not have a relationship with the Lord, it was very clear to me. So I got baptized again.
Yeah. And then someone walked you through at that time. Or
I don't remember.
discipled
Yes, they did. I think probably one of the youth leaders at that
Okay.
time. I don't specifically remember. But yeah, I made sure. And then when my kids came along and they expressed an interest and they, wanted to know how to be baptized or how to be saved, I made very clear that, I showed them scripture and I prayed with them, and I took that as my responsibility. So they each knew. And then we talked to the pastor too, and he again went through the salvation, the Romans road,
Right.
and so that they understood.
I feel like kids get missed a lot because we look around and we say, "Oh, that's the future of the church. That's the future of the church." But I mean, they're not. They are the church.
They are the church. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's
they're
right.
They're the church right now.
Well, and there's also sometimes the tendency, well, they're too young to understand. We'll wait
Mhm.
until they're older, and we miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
We really do. So children's ministry is so important. I've been involved in it a lot, and I love what Child Evangelism Fellowship says. They say the need is the calling.
Mhm.
A lot of people will say they're not called to teach, or they're not called to work with kids.
Right.
But like they say, the need is there, and that's the calling.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, you can run into what your calling is while you're doing some good work.
absolutely. And you may find out that you're not called to teach
Sure.
kids or teach anybody. But yeah, if you have an ability, you need to be in there doing that.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he will use your time there to learn something when you are doing what you're
Exactly.
supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So you said that you're involved in a children's ministry. Was that here? Is this where you served?
I did. As a Southern Baptist, or as a member of this church, I could participate in a camp at Civils.
Uh-huh.
We just drove by there yesterday. Everything's looking good. It was called Opportunity Camp. It started in Carlsbad, and a longtime friend of my dad's was running it. It started with boys, and they would meet at the Scout Camp, which was along the Pecos River there in Carlsbad. And I don't think it was an overnight camp. I think they met every day for a week or something like that. But these kids were all at-risk youth, and I mean young. They were not anybody over 15, I don't think. 10 to 15, something like that. A whole lot of them were recommended. The juvenile judges would send them to this camp. And, they did fishing and all kinds of boy stuff that the boys loved. Well, they'd never had girls. They'd never had a camp for girls. And
if you at any time, if you need to take something or whatever, we can break or whatever you need.
She'll leave a message.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Karen.
Yeah.
Pause. Oh, okay. We're going to take a little break here for a second while Karen answers the phone. So I'm going to attempt to make a part 1 and a part 2 by stopping this recording now. Okay, and we are back with Karen. I was just thinking the other day, I'm trying to figure out on this thing how to go about doing that and putting 2 parts together, so that actually just helped.
Oh, good. Good. I served a purpose. Thank you, Lord.
I've met so many questions because God really put it on my heart to have these conversations with people, and I have the Calvary Baptist in Roswell. The pastor over there has been kind of a mentor to me in this,
really?
because he does podcasts. Andy Byers.
I've met him, but I don't know him.
He has a couple of podcasts that I listen to, and man, it's like every 10 seconds I'm calling this guy with a question. So it's nice. It's nice when things come up and I can figure it out.
Figure it out. Now you can call him and tell him you got it figured out.
So you were telling us about the boys' camp.
Yeah, the boys'
Scout
camp. This friend that was running it, he put in the little newsletter for the Pecos Association that he wanted to get a girls' camp started, and he wanted to move both camps to civils. Well, I knew him. I loved him to pieces. I'm going to call him and tell him, I can help. When you get somebody, just tell me, I can help. Next thing I know, I'm director of the girls' camp. And so I did that for a few years. It was a real challenge, but it was also a real gift, and we saw salvation, but I think we also saw a lot of seed planted, a lot. Yeah. And I do know some of those kids still, but I pray for them from time to time. I think about them and just ask the Lord to, keep working on them if they haven't come to faith. But it was a challenge, but it was a real gift. Now by the time I took the girls, the judges were, I guess, less able to recommend a church camp for them. I don't know that, but we weren't getting quite as many for that. So we were having to beat the bushes and bring kids up, but it was free to them. They never had to pay. We provided all the transportation. A lot of times we had the towels and the shoes and the socks for those kids because they didn't even get there with that, but one I remember at least one little girl. The Gideons would always come and give every one of them a Bible, And of course they're the little Bibles, the little New Testaments. And one little girl, when she was leaving, she was so proud of that Bible. She told me, "This is just like the one my mom got in jail."
Yeah. And
that really touched my heart. And then I was taking a couple of kids from Hagerman up. They were riding with me when camp started, a couple of boys, and their conversation just really was heartbreaking because they were talking about I think it was their older cousin that was in prison, and one of them said, "When I go to prison, that's the one I want to go to."
Man.
It just, oh my goodness, no, you don't. It doesn't have to be a win,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And it was just heartbreaking to hear them talk like that. But that was what their assumption is, what their future was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, for some people, it's a lifestyle. Their
It
grandpa was there.
is.
Their dad was there.
Yeah.
I've seen siblings. I've seen uncle, nephew, father, son.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At the same time.
Oh.
It's
And
crazy.
they're not surprised, and they're not. I'm sure. I'm sure they just accepted it. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Wow, that's heartbreaking.
Now, I've also seen a lot of people leave, and I hadn't seen them again. So
Oh, that's good. That's a good
There
thing.
is hope with the programs that the state offers, and then really what I've seen the most is the labor-intensive things and the things that are based in religion.
Really,
Yeah, I don't see those guys come back.
they
too
don't
much.
come back. That's good.
Because they leave with something.
With something, yeah. So, is there a Muslim group out there?
There is, but they don't have there's not a community person right now that comes in and deals with them.
Yeah.
In fact, the last podcast I did, a friend of mine who's running for county commissioner, he built a seminary program within the prison system, and he was talking about that Muslims were joining his program, and he wasn't you were not allowed to discriminate, right? Because
Sure.
it's the state. So he was kind of telling a story about how some of them ended up coming to Jesus.
Oh, imagine that! Wow.
He said they were just sitting there to cause
They
problems.
must be spiritually minded, or they wouldn't be in a religion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
I
great.
mean, they got a few chapters of the correct book.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Well, and you hear about Muslims coming to faith that live in a tent in the middle of Afghanistan, because Jesus came to them in a dream, so the Lord prison walls don't stop him.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. At all. Yeah. Nothing does. But yeah, prison walls are nothing. At all
Nothing.
to that
In
guy.
fact, I think it's an invitation.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
when you're faced with this is where I am, this is what I've done with my life. Wow.
But they started that program, and those guys, they were backed by a college, and some of those guys could leave with a small degree in religious studies or in Christian counseling or something.
Wow.
And we've used some of those guys for one-on-one. If someone's on a suicide watch, we have to watch them. But some of those guys have actually been licensed to where we can just
Call
leave
them
that
up
guy
and
there.
get them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, nothing stops the Lord. Your time with children's ministry. What other things have you been called to do in the church?
I've done VBS. I've done Sunday school. Here, me and Wesley were involved in the youth, and we had a pretty good youth group, and we had they were pretty steady, and most of our kids came from unchurched homes, and so we started from scratch, with them, but seeds were planted, and then we have our wonderful success stories that we can't claim them, but like Toby Baxley, who's a minister of music in Texas, and some of the others that have really stayed with it, and so.
What do you think's been your favorite job in the church? Or
I really do like working with kids. I'm not that fond of. Well, I shouldn't say fond. I'm not as comfortable working with adults. Give me a whole gymnasium full of kids.
Yeah, and you're good.
I'm good there. Yeah. We can do something. If we, march to silly songs, we can do something. But adults are just altogether different. So anytime I've had to facilitate Bible study with adults, I'm not as comfortable.
Oh yeah, and you just. What do you think it is? Just because you're getting a front row seat to what God's doing, and you can see that they're learning something, or what do you think it is?
Well, maybe, but then there's also it can be very disturbing how adults get to the age they are and don't know any better, know more scripture, theology, than they know, and that's disheartening.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I'm afraid. I'm not saying they're not saved. I don't have anything to do with that. But I'm afraid that is what most of our churches are made up of. Mm-hmm. People who only come on Sundays. They never, and I did that for years. I didn't crack my Bible between Sundays. I rarely prayed, until I had kids. And then do you learn to pray? But, I was satisfied with, no, maybe not satisfied, but I was complacent about, growing. But now we're surrounded by excellent teaching, podcasts, radio, internet, books. There's no excuse. No excuse.
Yeah, it's awesome. I firmly believe that if Paul would have had these kind of technologies, he'd be here to run with them.
He would have evangelized the world for sure, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
I could have guessed your favorite thing just based off a movie conversation we had one time about the Cowboys. Every time I see that come across the feed, I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's watched that in a minute. I was thinking about that as you were talking about kids. So I bet that's why she likes that.
Yeah.
She likes that.
Yeah.
That movie there.
Yeah.
So you started going here in '78, right? And then whenever I came here, you were a member of the church down the street. How did that come about? How did you become a Presbyterian for a time?
I don't want to do that on.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Oh,
I would
okay.
like for you to know, but I'm not on.
Yeah, okay, that's no problem. Did you enjoy your time there?
I loved it.
What
I loved it.
For people who don't know, one of the differences is the immersion baptism.
Yes.
They're okay with sprinkling to where we believe that you need to be immersed. But I remember you were telling me, I don't remember what we were told. Well, obviously we're talking about baptism or something, and I said that I had heard that started because during revivals that it was hard to drag around a big tub to do things. So that kind of started. But you said that the pastor over there explained it to you one time, and it was very beautiful. Would you mind sharing that with us?
I just don't remember what he said. That's the
okay.
problem. But it was a perfectly good explanation. And he was, and they are not forbidden from immersion baptism. And he said he would be glad to, do that. But it didn't seem to be a sticking point for him, and I was able to accept that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I wish I did remember that, and women in ministry. We've had, or there was, she's retired now. She's no longer there. A woman pastor for here and for Dexter. I was perfectly comfortable with that because she was here temporarily. That's how she started. That was the whole, set up for her coming. She was interim. She was here to help us find a full-time pastor. So I really saw her as our Deborah. Deborah, there was no man to do what Deborah did. And she stepped in because she had to, and the Lord put her there, and I believe that firmly. And she did a great job. I loved reading about Deborah. And I saw Suzanne as that too, and she did an excellent job.
Yeah. Well, she was instrumental with the deal we do with the kids now. She brought that to us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was very obvious.
Did.
God used her.
She's an excellent Bible teacher and just very knowledgeable. And the thing with the services at the Presbyterian Church, they're a little more formal, not too formal. I think Baptists from way back in our history were so averse to any ritualism, anything that looked like idol worship, or that we've done away with it completely. And there are so many times when I just want to kneel during church, and I want to stand up and shout. Right. So I go from free will to as they call themselves, the frozen chosen. I think we've lost something, but they probably lost a little too, in the history. God has been tolerant of our denominations. He really has. That's one of the things that he has allowed. But we look forward to the day when all of those are gone, and we worship in unity, like Scripture says.
Yeah, I feel a lot of times that we kind of treat the Holy Spirit like No, for lack of a better word, like our weird uncle or something, and he's
Yes.
not.
No.
That's
And
God.
that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
I learned very little about Holy Spirit growing up.
Mhm.
I think I had an excellent uh, uh, education going through the Sunday school
Mhm.
as a kid, and I look back now and appreciation for the history, appreciation for this country, and the foundation. I really do, and um, I just am very grateful for that, and I thank the Lord often. And I wish I could go find my old Sunday school teachers and tell them I'm sorry for being such a smart aleck and not paying attention, and just being your problem child. But
They probably know.
yes, by now they've got it figured out, don't they? But they really did.
Yeah.
Even the little old ladies that wore too much perfume and sang the same songs all the time, and it was a good foundation.
Yeah.
It really was, and I'm grateful for that. But I thoroughly enjoyed. My time there. I didn't have places to serve like I did here.
Mhm.
I lost. I was no longer on the board at Civils.
Mhm.
I was kind of demoted with DR.
Uh-huh.
It just was things that I couldn't do, with the association and with the convention.
Mhm.
So I didn't have quite as much to do there, but I ended up serving when we closed and
Mhm.
taking care of all of that.
Yeah, helping
So
them,
yeah,
helping them finish up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess I helped.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it did. I mean, those. Unfortunately, when that happens, like those are things that
Have to be
need
done.
taken care of.
It
Yeah,
has
somebody
to be done. Somebody's got to
got
do it.
and you have to do it in a way that honors God and in a way that's correct.
Yes, and honors the history of the
Yes.
church and the
Mhm.
people, and so that was. I mean, if we had to do it, we wanted to do it right. It was very difficult.
Do they not have their own version of a disaster relief? I know that like Church of Christ or whatever, they have like a One Kingdom or something
There
like that.
is a ministry. I don't know how. I know you can contribute to
Mhm.
that particular ministry. I don't know if they have teams that go out or if they just like send money to the churches, that are affected or something like that. That's as far as I ever looked into it.
But not how the Baptists.
No, very
the
few
organization.
have
Yeah.
that involved a ministry that extensive. It's the whole Southern Baptist Convention, and in fact, it goes worldwide.
How did you get involved with disaster relief?
It was in 2005 with Katrina. A whole lot of people started then because it was such a massive, disaster. Just took in the whole Gulf Coast,
Mm-hmm.
and and I still was not involved. The Pecos Valley had disaster relief,
Mm-hmm.
a very small group. They'd been to California. They'd been to a few other places and done a little bit, but they didn't
Mhm.
have the equipment. It wasn't quite the organization that it is now. And I'm not sure it was anywhere else in New Mexico. I don't know that it was. Lost my train of thought. Oh, anyway, as soon as Katrina hit, the state kind of picked up on it, and they were sending teams out of Artesia. I don't know how much of the rest of the state was involved, but I know that several from Artesia and
Mhm.
southern New Mexico, they were putting teams together. Well, I had no experience. I had no training. I had nothing.
Mhm.
And they called me up and they asked me if I would be a blue hat. They were desperate. Blue hat is, I don't know the military equivalent, but yellow hats are the worker bees.
Mhm.
They do all the work. But then the yellow hats have to have a communications point and somebody
Mhm.
that tells you go here and go here. That's what they wanted me to do. Well, if I had known that, I would have run in the other direction. I had no idea. Oh, I'll be your blue hat. What is that?
Mhm.
Well, so we get a whole bus or van full of people, and we had 2 people on there that had some experience. The rest of us were just show us what we do, just
Mhm.
show us where to go. And there was a kitchen already set up, the big deep pots on a burner, and I don't remember. I don't remember. It was been so long ago. We did have a kitchen area where we could wash the stuff that we cooked with, and so we kind of, people. I let people do what they felt comfortable with. I'm not a manager. I'm just not a manager. But anyway, and then I headed for the reefers to inventory because we didn't even know what we had. How can we feed? I think they were putting out 10,000 meals. It wasn't just depending on us.
Sure.
There was another kitchen there. Thank goodness. I think they were Kentucky, and they had been at this for a long time. So they had a really nice setup. So, man, I was following their blue hat around like you wouldn't believe. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, the Lord took over.
Yeah.
And we got our meals out, and and what they would do, we would heat up, big pots full of corn or whatever, and it went into, they're called Cambros. I think that's the brand name. They're big, like a nice chest, like an insulated chest, and then those were loaded onto little cars, retrofitted. They were military ambulances, what they were, and they were retrofitted to hold these Cambros, and then they were Red Cross, and they would take them out in the community and just serve out of them. They'd put the food in a clamshell, and the people would come from the areas. They just go to different neighborhoods, and they would feed them. And I told those folks to tell them, if they really liked the food, then New Mexico fixed it. If they didn't like the food, Kentucky made it.
Right, yeah.
But it was so impressive. I mean, we pulled into the parking lot, and there were still fish in the parking lot. The church had been flooded, but they had cleaned it out and made it available for the disaster relief to come. It was a huge setup. There was a huge tent that was full of nothing but clothes and household goods. That was kind of a mess because there was nobody to work it, and so it just kind of it was the stepchild. It really was, but then, and cars would also come through and pick up food and pick up ice, and it was a massive response right there. And that was in Slidell, Mississippi. And then some of the people that were helping there would go then at night, and one guy I talked to, and he would work a ham radio all night out of New Orleans, out of the basement of one of the hospitals there in New Orleans. So when I saw that kind of response and that kind of an organization and that kind of a heart for people, I knew I wanted to be a part of it, and so I've been with it ever since.
What you say you went there to Katrina, and I understand the mission is to help people, but the gospel conversations, I've always been curious. Yes. How does that change when you have 5 minutes with somebody to give them give them a tray, or you having it with the volunteers? They
are much like what you find yourself in. When they've lost everything, they're willing to listen. And if I can hand them a thing of water or a plate of food or sit down with them, that's a big part of it. Just sit down, listen to your story, and then it just kind of, I'm not an evangelist. I'm really not a very good witness. But I can sure say, when I find myself at the lowest point, or,
right.
This Jesus was there with you, and some of them are mad at him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some of them are pretty mad at him, especially if they've lost loved ones, and Red Cross had an office there in the church, and the room that I was staying in, me and another lady were sharing a little side room, happened to be right next to their office. And I was in there one day, and I overheard a conversation. I couldn't help but overhear it. Somebody had come in asking the Red Cross for help. The week before, he'd had a heart transplant.
Oh.
He had to have medication, he had to have help. And disasters hit. Whether you're planned for them or not, I don't care if you live on the Mississippi or the Gulf Coast. I don't care. That doesn't matter. The hit, and now it has grown into such an amazing ministry because there's disasters everywhere. We've got a team out in Hawaii right now.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
How does the deployment work Who decides like, oh, I better call New Mexico, or what's the criteria? Is it just a distance? Is it, man, these guys are really good at kitchens, or how does that?
Yeah. Well, yes, it is. The country is now. It's worked into the country is divided into districts, kind of areas, and this area stays mostly in the Southwest, but there's lots and lots of calls to the Gulf Coast, and so that's actually where I've gone the most was Louisiana, Mississippi, in that area. Went to Florida twice, so we have gone there. If it's a long term, like Katrina, it happened in August, and I didn't go till October. Ivan, was it Ivan? I forget the names of them. The last time I was in Florida, it hit in August. We weren't there until October. Now at that time they did close the kitchen. That's mostly what I've done is in the kitchen, but they still had teams coming in with chainsaws and mud out and things like that. But yeah. The convention is set up, the Southern Baptist Convention is set up where they will contact, this is what I understand, they will contact each state. And New Mexico is blessed with one of the best, they call them incident management. Our white hat, and that's the head guy for the whole state, he and his wife are outstanding at management. He was a superintendent when he was working. He was a superintendent for national parks, and that has translated very well into managing. So he does New Mexico, but then he gets called around the country to do training for others for incident management. And he even went to American Samoa when they had I think it was a tsunami some years back, and helped out there with getting that coordinated. I wish I could do incident management. That's clean. You're in an air-conditioned office. But about all I could do is run a copier and a paper shredder. I am not good at that. But I've done just enough of it to think, this is pretty neat. But then I love the kitchen. I love the kitchen.
So in a disaster, all I know is prison, right? So whenever an emergency happens, typically the first guy there, he is in charge until somebody who shows up with more experience or something like that. Is the Red Cross always in charge, or is it who gets there first?
Yeah, we are not first responders.
Oh, okay.
We never show up first.
Okay.
None of us. And I think the first team actually that goes in they're called assessors. They know. I mean, we have some constraints. We don't work on rental property. We don't work on mobile homes because they're. I mean, if they've been flooded, there's nothing you can do. And there are some things but we've got the guy that goes in first, and he makes that call. He's experienced enough. He knows the need. He can tell the need. And we have several of them that are able to do that and recognize if it's really something that's worth deploying, worth going to. But Red Cross asks for us, or Salvation Army. We work for either under their umbrella, either one. I don't think there's ever been there may have been an area where one of our guys just said, let's get a team in there, and generally there will be a feeding team, at least for our recovery teams. We'll at least do that much. Sometimes a church will offer to do that, and that's great, but usually we have a feeding team. It might not be more than about 3 people, but and our recovery teams aren't going to be usually not more than about 20, 25. And we've got the equipment, we've got the chainsaws, and at one time we had a power plant. At one time we had a water purification plant trailer, but I guess they decided there just wasn't that much of a need. And now we've gone from the kitchens being set up in tents to trailers, the food trailers. Yeah, and I've never worked one. I can't say as I really want to. I can't imagine putting out. But we also have not. I don't believe we've put out the thousands of meals. I've worked with putting out up to 10,000, and it's not it's not as impressive as you'd think. You got skillets as big as this table, and and pots, and and convection ovens, and you can put out a lot of food in a little bit of time. They go in those Cambros. The Cambros will keep it at serving temperature for 4 hours, up to 4 hours. But you check them. We're very careful about that. Nobody wants to respond to a disaster and have people get sick because of what we feed them.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that. And so we've had training, and we're very careful about that. So it's a wonderful organization. Somebody else figures out how we're going to get there. If we have to make an overnight stop on our way down there, they figure out where we're going to go. Somebody else has decided where the kitchen needs to be set up. I mean, they why not go and help them out? Why not? I can do that. I can stir pots. I can do that.
Yeah.
Wash a dish.
The follow up is there a team that does that, or do you just rely on the local churches to get back with those people later on, or is that?
We do some, and we be sure and tell the local church, And of course, the local churches that receive us, they want the community to come. They're already out there working in the community. It's very rare that they're not, already out there and looking for people. But yeah, if we know we come across a family or an individual that is going to need help long after we're gone, we certainly let the local church know that and get them in contact with them.
But that would be up to them. There's not a team who
I don't
checks
think
on
there
kind of thing.
is that goes back, but a lot of our folks make friends with the homeowners, and the homeowners too. The thing about cooking, we don't meet the people as much. I mean, we have to make a real point to go out with whoever, the Salvation Army or Red Cross, whoever is taking the food to them. We have to make a real point to go with them and be there, to handle. And I'm not always available to do that. I can't always leave. There's always something that needs to be cleaned up or started the next day, So I don't do that very often. I did go out with Katrina. We just went to tour the area, and it would just kill you. There were boats in people's front yards. There were just unbelievable. There were a bunch of posts out in the water, and they were just sticking up. And our driver told us, homes used to be on top of those things. There was no sign of anything ever having been there, Wow. And then we would see big X's spray painted on the buildings, and that meant that they'd already checked for dead bodies.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And then we go, we've gone to other places. We went to, why can I never remember the name of that town? It's outside of Elk National Park in Colorado. I can never remember. Anyway, it's a beautiful area, and there are some very large, expensive homes. They got flooded too. Yep. They got washed when there was a flood in the river. They needed help too. We did a little bit, but if there's insurance, we tend to not.
Yeah.
But some things we could do. And they were that particular call out. Colleges have teams, specific teams, and they will go, and that's so nice to watch those young people work.
I bet.
Because so much of our folks are retirees, are the ones who have the time, but they also have the expertise. And we've got some foresters, lifelong foresters. They can cut a tree down between two mobile homes, and they can tell you right where that tree's going to land. That is so impressive.
That's a
I
skill.
love watching. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love watching that.
That's not an easy task.
No.
You watch cartoons. The Lorax, right? He says, they fall the way they lean. Like,
yeah,
well, maybe not.
maybe not. Do you know which way it's leaning? Can you really tell us?
Yeah.
But getting involved with DR. People, I think, are sometimes a little concerned. I can't go and do the work. Well, I promise you, we can't all do it, and it's We take care of our teams. We know that. When you get
Mm-hmm.
tired and don't get to the end, you go
Right.
lay down, you go sit down. We take care of our teams. You're gone for at the most maybe 10 days. Usually it's 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you do take your own bedding and such as that. But there's somebody there to do the laundry. We have laundry teams. We'll certainly do the laundry for our teams and sometimes for the public. Sometimes, we have shower trailers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that difficult. And if you at all have a heart for helping people, I think everybody ought to be involved.
How does someone get involved?
You can take training online.
Mm-hmm.
There's also group training, but I think now it's mostly gone to online. And it's very basic. It's very basic. You learn a little bit of the history. You learn a little bit of the safety,
Mm-hmm.
such as that. But mostly the training is on the job.
That's it.
You just go and be a part of a team or talk to somebody. Sometimes we do 1 or 2 day events,
Mm-hmm.
and if you want to help with that, you learn in a kitchen. Some of it is, oh, I never thought of that, and some of it is just oh yeah, sure, I would expect that. It's you want your kitchen to be as clean as you would expect a restaurant to be,
Right.
and follow the same safety rules. And we do, we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, once you pick up on that, it's just, it's not quite the same as a church dinner.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not
But-
everybody brings a pot of beans or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I'm sure it's food that can be mass produced. Like
Yes, yes.
Sandwiches or
Yes,
whatever.
and you follow basic safety guidelines, And somebody knows that, and somebody in the team is going to keep up with that, and so it's not that much to learn. I think it's well worth it, and it's a wonderful ministry. We got to serve in Texas. They'd had a tornado, and the guys that were there from out of town, I think they were from Louisiana. They were hired to come and put the poles back up and get the electricity going.
Uh-huh.
But they came and got our burritos.
Yeah.
They are breakfast burritos. They probably got money to go buy them but
Sure.
they came to us. They came to that church.
Yeah.
So we got to minister to them too.
That's awesome.
And some of the locals, some of that really weren't affected, the
Mm-hmm.
church wanted them there. We brought them in. So, I mean, it's just a great outreach.
Mm-hmm.
And when there was a tornado here, in Dexter, and it hit the area,
Mm-hmm.
we set up in the kitchen at the community center and
Oh.
served meals. The Red Cross asked us to come, so they were here for a little while. So
I
we
remember
did
you
that.
guys for that last Ruidoso fire when they evacuated them here. I remember you were
Yes,
over there.
yeah, we were up there for that. That was a real learning experience. I'd never worked directly with the Red Cross that closely before. A lot of times they are maybe in another state, and they're just
Mhm.
calling in their requests.
Oh, I see.
But we fed the governor one time. We were in Ruidoso working a fire, and it just so happened that the lady that was our blue hat that time had cooked a brisket. We
Mhm.
were set up in the high school, so we had all of their equipment in their kitchen. It was wonderful. But anyway, she had cooked a brisket that day, and we got a call, and we were told that a fellow was going to come in and pick up 3 meals, and he didn't tell us who they were for, but we figured it out because he came walking in his dress pants and white shirt and his sunglasses. You're here with the governor, aren't you? So she ate our brisket that day. We were
that's
pretty
good.
tickled. Yeah.
That's a nice feather in your hat.
We thought so. We thought so.
Now, does somebody to get involved, do they have to be a member of a church, or can anybody go to these online?
Anybody can go to the online. I think that they do want you to have. I don't know that you have to be a member of a church,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think they want you to have a testimony.
Oh, okay.
I think that much at least. I don't know that, but the information could be easily found out.
Sure.
The bcnm.com is the Baptist Convention of New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have all of that information online.
Okay.
I'm sure.
And I'll try to figure out how to drop a link in this thing whenever I post it too. And
Okay.
if somebody's interested, maybe they can.
And I know that there is maybe a more direct link to DR. I'll look and see.
Okay.
But it's going to be through BCNM. I just don't. It's a lot of letters, and I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
them,
yeah, I'm sure.
So I just don't remember them.
So aside from your time with disaster relief, you're involved with the food pantry here.
Uh-huh.
You're on the board for that, right?
Uh-huh.
How did you get involved with that?
They just put out the call, and it's some years ago out of the Methodist Church, and it just seemed like it's something that I would like to be involved in.
Mm-hmm.
It has really evolved from the beginnings. We're a corporation now.
Mm-hmm.
We get food from Roadrunner Food Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of that is a government program.
Mm-hmm.
We get donations. Thank goodness for our donations. But we've been helped by United Way. They've been a big help to us. And some of the businesses around town, the people that put in the wind farm
Oh yeah.
out here, they've been good supporters. We've gotten support out of Carlsbad. So we get lots of support, and I think it's a great food bank. I really do.
How many families do you think you see on average?
70 something a month.
A month?
Is that what they say? I think so. I'm not part of the counting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not part of that I don't even know exactly how you sign up. I'm not exactly certain who qualifies. I don't think there's a lot of qualification. I don't think you have to live in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, because if you're not in the valley, there's other food banks that you can go to, and so we prefer that people be in the valley. I'm not sure you have to even give your income. I don't know that.
What is your role there if you're not one of the counters?
We get a truck twice a month, and we need help, unloading the truck and putting. Now that comes from Roadrunner out of Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm.
I clean.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do their part. I do some cleaning. When we get donations, I go and help them put that up. It just all kinds of different things that have to be done. And we're a bunch of mamas.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess we don't mind, oh, you're here to help, I'll show you what to do. So
Do you get a lot of community involvement, a lot of volunteers?
They probably, more of them come on mornings when there's distribution. I'm not able to be there because it's on a Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. But I hear names that I'm not familiar with, so I think we must get... folks who are clients who
Mm-hmm.
get their food there, they will help, and so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We always appreciate that. And we need help on those mornings, because that's when people come and they're moving through, and it works more like a grocery store. A lot of food banks, they'll pack a box, and you get what's in the box,
Yes.
and hopefully that's all helpful and usable. But we let, as much as we can, we let folks pick out what they want.
I see. At least that way something's not getting wasted if it's something
Exactly.
they're allergic to or whatever.
Yeah. So it works out. And then, sometimes there's only two of us that live in Hagerman. So if there's an emergency,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I'll go down there, and the other lady works, the other one that lives here, so she's not always home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm usually around and can go down and help them with that and other things if I need to meet somebody down there with a donation or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another one of the things that I do.
What's everybody's favorite? What's your big ticket item over there?
The pastries.
The pastries.
And we have one lady, she just left. She just retired at 90. I don't think I'm going to be doing this at 90. But she didn't like that we handed out pastries. but we get them, and the
Uh-huh.
people love them,
Sure.
you know, and bread and pastry. But we get them from Harvest Ministries, and they're donations from the grocery stores in town. I've heard people say that there ought to be a law to make the stores give food to the pantries. Well, they already do. They don't need a law. We get a lot of food that's close to expiring, or just stuff that, you know, they need to move on out. We
Sure.
get a lot of good food from Sam's. We get it from Walmart. We get it from Albertsons and farmers. So they don't need a law. They're already doing that. We get produce from them, you know. So they're already doing great. We're able to give a good variety. And then Roadrunner brings us sometimes produce and sometimes pastries. So, but that's what folks really like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That.
I don't blame them. You know, that's what you pick up at the grocery store yourself when you go.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Yeah, who doesn't? Like
Who
a good
doesn't? That's
pastry? Can farmers or people like that donate to you? Or
Yes.
yes.
In fact, we do get some donated eggs.
Oh.
It was. There was a lot of confusion there for a while, and apparently somebody at Roadrunner was saying, "No, you can't do that. You can't give away, you know, local stuff." And because for a long time we even gave away game. Now there is a program for people to donate their game specifically for for food pantries. I don't know if you can designate Hagerman or if you just have to give it to them, but there is a program, and I can it's Hunters for Hunger, but I don't know if that's the name of the web page.
And is this game that you processed, or do they want to do it themselves so they know everything was?
I think you take it to a processing plant.
Oh, okay.
I think that's right. I haven't looked into it. We haven't gotten a deer or an elk
Oh.
permit in years, so and
Yeah, what is that?
yeah, what is that? Yeah, so we haven't even done any hunting. But I know we donated before there was the confusion about it. We donated some salmon that we caught and processed ourselves, and we also have donated beef that we couldn't use. You know, that was professionally processed.
Right.
But there has been game before, but I don't know. I mean, I understand why a pantry probably shouldn't hand that out. You know, if you don't have the controls. But if it goes to a processing plant and it's professionally done, then definitely we can.
Yeah. I don't know. That's neat to know.
That is good to know. Yeah. That is. Because we're always looking for meat.
Yeah.
Always looking for meat.
And some people just like to hunt. They don't like the taste
and
of
and
it.
they don't want to. Yeah, they would maybe go more, and if they had some place to do, you know, take the meat.
Or some people cut it with so much hamburger meat that you can't taste it anyway.
I know
They could just give you the deer.
I know it. I know. Yeah, that's true.
And then
too.
everybody would be happy. How can someone get involved with your pantry if they're wanting to help or to donate or?
Well, just Leanne Sandoval is our president. I can give you her phone number. I think she's put it online.
Oh, okay.
So it's okay if you put it on. In fact, she'd probably be tickled. I mean, without calling her.
Right.
All right, it's 575-626 1778. And she's the president. She would be more than glad to let you know how you can help and or who to talk to. And I'd be glad to give my number. It's 575-973-2779. And if anybody has, specific questions. But yeah, really you can just show up the second, third, and fourth Tuesdays. The second and third at 9 o'clock, and the third at 5 o'clock in the evening. We do have one evening pantry.
And that's always on the third Tuesday?
Second, third, and fourth. The fourth Tuesday is the evening one.
Oh, I wrote that wrong. I put the third.
It's a little confusing, but it's kind of confusing no matter which Tuesday we're there. But anyway, but we would love to have more help with our truck.
And that old grocery store stuff still works, or have you had to revamp?
No,
that
we've had to. United Way blessed us with a good amount. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and we got us a walk-in. We are so proud of that walk-in. Wish it was twice the size. We could do that, But then also, Roadrunner provided us with money for a commercial refrigerator just in time because the one we had was going out. So yeah, we got lots of freezers but yeah, their equipment was a little far gone. Their electricity in the building, we really had to do some work to bring it up to, useful. But we love the building. We're tickled with the building. So
And it's a good spot.
it's a
right
great
there
spot,
in
and
town.
with that
Yeah.
parking lot right
Yeah.
there, yeah, it's a great spot.
And then I guess they got that sign next door to y'all going. Every night when I drive home, I see they're up there
Yeah,
working on
yeah,
it.
I bet. Yeah, I'm so
I don't know how to
tickled
get on that
that's-
thing, but
You know,
it's there.
when they had it before, they let us put like VBS and
Really?
oh yeah, anything on there. So call town hall. I think you need before. She wanted at least a week's notice, but don't expect her to put it on the next
Sure.
day. Takes a little bit of time, but yeah, I think probably they'd be fine with that.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good reminder for y'all's Bible break.
It would be.
to have
It would
something on
be.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll call her. I'll call her and let her know because that's 2 weeks, or is it a week from today or 2 weeks?
Is it the 20? I have it wrote down. But
Me too.
it's not
Me
with
too.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a calendar in front of me. I can't function without looking right at one. But I think. But anyway, yeah. Or Tara can call her. But we will. We'll get her called about that.
That'd be a neat reminder for something like that.
Yeah, and she was perfectly willing to do that before. We put, what everything that the church was doing that we thought was, something the public would want to know, and they were perfectly willing.
Yeah. Can you tell us about a time, man? You've been involved in so much with children's ministry and disaster relief and the pantry and all that. Can you tell us about a time when you just got a front row seat when God let you just watch the gospel happen in action? Somebody obey it or
Others, yeah. Well, there was a time in Carlsbad. I know it was very humbling for some folks. We had young families, young mothers, probably none of them even 30 years old, small kids, very involved with the church, very involved with their families in what their kids were doing, and Sunday school teachers and youth leaders, and some of the women, it actually, through much prayer on their part, and then later they got together, they realized that they were not born again.
No.
We tend to think if we're involved with church, it's easy to miss sometimes. And every one of them came under conviction. And we saw about 5 of them get baptized.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see them admit it to themselves, to their families publicly. It's not always easy for an adult.
Yeah.
And that's why they say that adults aren't saved. It's kids. Kids don't have near the baggage that adults have.
Yeah.
But these women weren't going to let that pass them by. They weren't going to just bury it and let that go. And that was amazing. It really was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And all of them now, I've kept in touch with most of them, one way or another. And they all, are growing in the Lord. And it wasn't a flash in the pan for them at all.
And I bet that was powerful for the people who saw it too.
Absolutely powerful.
If you're struggling with something,
yes.
You got nothing on this lady who just publicly went in front of everybody.
and she's here every time the door's open.
Yeah.
I better, and I love 2 Corinthians 13:5. Test yourself. Test yourself. Don't assume anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's you like the band too, the Master's Voice.
Yeah.
That's part of his testimony. He said he was professionally doing these revivals and stuff for years without being saved.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can't assume this guy's responsible. Well, God's responsible, but this guy's directly part of people.
Yes.
Coming up and getting that taken care of,
and urging them. Yes. Well, you know that there's pulpits filled by men who have no relationship with the Lord. They're there for all kinds of reasons,
Yeah.
And they may be good reasons, I guess, but they got no business being there.
Yeah. They say you want you're there for God. You're there for the glory, the gold, or the girls. I guess that's the reason.
I guess.
People go up. The 4Gs.
It's funny.
I don't know who comes up with this stuff. But
I know.
There's just some preacher who has all day. I don't know what he does. He
Yeah,
don't have a yard to
has
mow.
to come up with something clever. I get paid to talk. I bet.
Yeah.
I better do it.
Yeah, he needs a hobby or something. What do you think is the best way we can reach people in our area? And a second part to that, I know that a lot of churches have dwindled for various reasons.
Yes.
We all like to say, well, COVID just came around and slapped us, but I think we got slapped before COVID, and I think a lot of it has to do with church hurt. Maybe somebody who was involved has upset somebody or done something wrong, and then those people aren't around anymore, but still, when you pass the building, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's them guys.
Yeah,
What do you think
just
we
gotta
could do as a church in this area to reach out to people? What do you think is the best way to reach people who are maybe affected by that kind of thing?
Boy, if I knew that, I'd write a book.
Sure.
And sell 1 million copies. I have really done a lot of praying about this gathering in September.
Uh-huh.
I wish I had gotten a morning memo from the Lord, as I don't know. And like I say, I'm not an evangelist. I am somewhat reluctant to just go knock on doors.
Mm-hmm.
Just cold turkey. Ooh, that reminds me, I have tracts for you. I don't know if you like tracts or not.
Mm-hmm.
This is one put out by Alistair Begg, or
Mm-hmm.
his ministry. I'll bring them to you. If I don't put something right in my pockets or something, I go off and leave
I'm
them.
saying.
Anyway, and it also has a QR code on the back of it that is you go and listen to it. It's a message that he's put on that is an explanation of God.
Yeah.
Why in the world would we believe in God? What is, give us some really good reasons, and it's just a wonderful. I've never heard start to finish, that good from anybody. So anyway, I'll bring it to you. But I don't know how to. There are more Christians in this town than come to church. They're going to church in Artesia or Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
They're not coming here,
Mm-hmm.
and that really bothers me because when I started going to the Presbyterian church, it was because I wanted church in my town.
Yes.
And that's why I'm back here. I want church in my town.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna, be involved in bringing people in, I want it to be my people.
Mm-hmm.
Hagerman is a hard nut to crack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've figured that out or not.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I don't understand it. Others have come. Church on the Move came for a while, and they in the community center down here,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a big draw. They thought for youth,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody came.
Really?
Nobody came, and we've had to quit They have quit the Christmas gathering because nobody comes to Christmas, to giving away food and giving away
Right.
gifts. They don't come. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to take some more praying and maybe some fasting,
For sure.
to figure out what to do. I tend to not want to do the just knock on the doors because that's so Jehovah's Witness. And we did that for years. That's what Baptists did. That's what you did on Wednesday night. It was visitation.
Yeah.
And I did it. I went along. Long years ago, I don't know why he came to my door. A fella, I couldn't even tell you what church he was with. But I knew he was visiting for his church, and he had a tract, and he knocked on the door, and I could he was a grown man, and I was still not a kid, but a young woman. And I could tell he was scared to death, and he didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to knock on strangers' doors, but he did it. So I invited him in, and I let him give me his entire spiel.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, you can go home now.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this anymore.
It's such an intentional thing.
It is. It is.
To go up and it's intimidating. And I used to work door-to-door sales.
Really?
So I worked for Schwann's for a long
Oh
time.
well, everybody wants Schwann's.
Right, yeah. And that's and it's nothing important. It's just chocolate
I
ice
know.
cream. But it's very weird that I'll knock on any door in the world to peddle this ice cream, but it's just you get scared when it's about something important, like when it's about
I know.
it's yeah.
I know. Well, you don't want to mess up. You don't want
Yeah.
to be sent away
Right.
angrily. I don't know. I wish I did know. I wish I wish I had a better feel for our little town. After 9/11, we gathered. Is it? It's not
Siren?
12. It's not 12, and that sounds like the noonday whistle.
Yeah, it's barely 11:28.
Anyway, we gathered down at around by the Christmas tree
Mhm.
and the rose garden. Everybody was down there, and we went in a circle and we prayed.
Mhm.
Of course, that was nationwide. I
Sure.
know, but it was so good to see those people there. And then one time, the warden at the prison, his son was killed in a car wreck.
Must have been before my time.
Yeah, it was been a while back. I think he might be the one that they put the sign up for, the drunk driver sign
Oh, by
down
the
by
community
I
center.
think that might have been him. Anyway, one of the teachers from the school came, and some others came for just to bring the school kids for a memorial service for him. And I know the dad was a believer. I know that. He came. And the teacher that spoke, he was obviously a believer. Those kids were so hungry, and they were just devastated. Because actually, I think 2 boys were killed, and one other kid was seriously injured. They weren't here in Hagerman. They had gone to, and the other boy was not from here. They had gone to another town and were driving drunk, and it was after graduation, and I mean, the kids that came, they were just devastated, and they were willing to listen to anything we had to say. But I don't know if that stayed with them, and I don't know if anybody. We tried, put out some effort. I don't know. There's a hunger. People need it, and I'm sure that some of it might be church hurt. It might be. But I don't know. But it's not just here. Churches are closing all over the country, But there's also revival in some places, and churches are growing, and,
Yeah, I think this one day is going to be a good deal. I mean, I'm praying for it every day like everybody else, but man, I really think that God's going to do something.
I hope so. I hope and pray so.
Yeah.
Because our little town needs it. Mm-hmm. Our little town needs it. When people found out that the Presbyterian Church closed, I grew up there. I'm just devastated. Why? And I'm thinking, why didn't you come and help?
Right. Yeah.
Where were you? And we didn't close because we needed money. We closed because we had no people.
Right.
And if we had gotten a pastor, how would we have kept him paid?
Right.
Eventually the money that we had would have, dwindled. We couldn't offer him anything,
right.
So, but a huge challenge.
Yeah. Well, some people like that, but do y'all do, well, I say y'all, you're over here now, but do they do like I'm bivocational, right? I have a job. Do they have the equivalent
Yes,
of that?
that would have been one of the possibilities. We couldn't have had Suzanne by herself. She had to have gotten, she just so happened to be at Dexter Presbyterian. That was her other job. But if we couldn't have paid her ourselves.
Right.
We contributed, but we couldn't have had her full time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it would have had to have been bivocational. Which is, can be difficult because, you've got to take care of your job. You've got to be there for that. And people like a full-time pastor. Well, paying full-time,
Right,
you can't have everything.
And bivocational, one thing about it that I found is it's really encouraging, and you get to see almost every day with the things that work out in your schedules and the things that you get to do, or there's like things you can't be a part of, like the Bobcat Bible break. Like I'm always at work when that's happening, except for like a rare instance. But you get to see a glimpse every time that like, well, who cares? God's in charge. Yeah. Oh, you're not going to be there? Well, it turns out he didn't need you.
He didn't need you anyway, yeah. Doesn't that make you feel essential? So are you allowed at the prison while you're on duty to offer anything? Can you invite them to church? Can you mention the church?
The rule is, if they ask you.
If they ask.
You can talk about whatever you like.
Yeah.
I mean, these symbols are 100% carved into my desk for someone to say, hey, what's that?
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah. But if they ask you. Now, it's a little bit different for, like, Wayne Brazil. He's our chaplain.
Okay.
So he can go talk about whatever he wants.
Yeah.
That's
his job. Yeah.
But the rest of us, just if they ask.
How often is Wayne there? He's not there full time, is he?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, is he? So they're not. Is the Lee County? Is that one closed?
Yes.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah. Somebody told me that.
Yeah, he works for us full time. He takes off Fridays or something.
Oh.
So he works in an amended schedule, but at his request. It's a full time job.
Mm-hmm.
We used to for years. It was they didn't pay a full time pastor because we didn't have a high enough number. So Phil Grassi for 20-something years was a volunteer chaplain.
Wow.
Who was there almost as much as a full
Yeah.
guy would have been.
Yeah. Well, I heard about a ministry. One of the churches in Roswell, I think, would go out there for, and this has been a long time ago, I guess, would go out and do a Bible study, and I looked into it, and it just never did work out. And then I also took some training for the Kairos program.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But that didn't work out either. So not for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have it out here.
Out here, they don't so much do the Kairos, because Kairos is set up for really a long-term individual, right? Our guys are going to be out in 5 years.
Oh, okay.
At least. And Kairos is really, we have things that are the equivalent on a more short-term basis.
Okay.
But Kairos is kind of set up for a long-term thing. Well, like we used to have crossings, and that was set up a little bit different.
Huh.
And I know Wayne was a big part of crossings when he was at LCCF, and I guess when he was the pastor here. That seems like a drive. It seems like it would have made more sense for him to work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
don't have no drive at all. Here we go, hours.
Yeah.
Well, Karen, I like to again. I want to thank you for your time, and I'm trying to start a tradition where I ask everybody here, what is your favorite hymn or religious song?
That was on the list. How much longer do we have?
We got as long as you want.
I love them all.
I got nowhere to be.
The God Leads His Dear Children. That's an old one. I do love the old songs. There was, and then there's new stuff. Charles Billingsley has one. It's called On Golden Streets. And that's absolutely beautiful. It's one I had played at my mother's funeral. He just makes you want to step into heaven.
Yeah, I'm going to check that one out. You said Billingsley?
Billingsley, Charles Billingsley, yeah. And then I don't always pay attention to who the new singers are. That Mercy Me and them guys are new to me. But there's one, and I don't know who sings it, but it's No Scars in Heaven. That's an amazing song. Or the only scar, maybe it's Only Scars in Heaven. Anyway, the idea is that Jesus is the only one that's going to have scars. Right. I love that one. I like new and old. So those, but I really like God Leads His Dear Children Along. That's a good song. I've heard Toby Baxley sing that one. He can sing that one at my funeral.
Is there a lot of difference in the music between us and the Presbyterian?
Stephen and Suzanne would sing the Mercy Me and and Suzanne loves the Gettys, and I do too. Anything that they sing, and so she would sing that. So that's and a lot fewer songs. We only had 3 usually in the service, about 3, and then finish with a recent chorus. But yeah, it's a little bit different. But I'm enjoying Alan. I am just enjoying him so much. He was a little kid when when they first started here, and it's just so good to see him involved.
Yeah,
it
he
really
could
is.
sing a phone book. Is that what people say?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I never knew that when he was younger. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think he did a lot of singing then. At least I didn't pay attention to it, I guess, when he was in the youth group. But I really, and his mom playing, and that's good. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, they're very good. Very good music team.
Yeah, it's a very good team.
I can't even read it still. I gotta watch the guy next to me clap. And I say, okay, I'll try to do what he does.
Well, and it tickles me that Alan says he can't read music.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what he says. But he does just, I don't know if maybe his mother plays for him and he picks the tune up. And of course, there's songs that he knows too. A lot of them.
And she was probably singing to those to him when he
Yeah,
was a baby
probably.
or whatever.
Probably. Yeah. And he grew up with them because they were always sung around here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm never any good at that kind of stuff. And then when I was going through discipleship, right, because I felt like God had called me to preach, but I didn't know how. So I went to Roswell. I reached out to the Baptist church there, and the guy who discipled me, the pastor over there, he says, "Okay, well, I'm gonna hook you up with this guy," and it was their music guy. And I know nothing about music. And I thought, man, what are we going to have in common? And it turns out a lot.
Oh, good.
Not music.
And what was his name?
For sure. His name is Jacob.
Jacob Bessing?
Yeah.
Blessing?
Yes.
Bessing?
Yeah.
Bessing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julie's dad was a preacher here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
Or, you know what? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
You told me that. Yeah.
What was his name, I can see him. I can't picture him. Her mom is an absolute saint, and I think we probably hired him because of her.
Oh, yeah.
She's just a doll, and we love Julie because that girl can sing. Have you ever heard her sing?
No.
Oh, she's got a beautiful voice, and she used to sing a lot for us. We loved it.
Yeah. Now I hear Jacob all the time because I have a feed on my Facebook of certain services I'll watch or certain preachers I like to to listen to, and I always make sure his music is part of the rotation there. Yeah, he's a good guy. He mentored me because I didn't know anything except this is what I was being called to do.
And that drive, you can't deny it, and you gotta take care of it.
Yeah, but I know the logistics of dunking somebody or
that kind of stuff. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
What do I say while I'm doing it, huh?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was all kind of foreign to me. And I was a member of a church in Roswell for a long time. Even though we had moved to Hagerman. We moved to Hagerman. I came here one time, and I wound up just going back to Roswell. And I was ordained there, and I used it to do a couple of weddings, and just not like I was supposed to, apparently. So when it came time to do it like I was supposed to, when he really started impressing upon me that I needed to get that done, I said, okay, well, let me go try to figure out how real quick.
Yeah.
He just walked me right through it,
So tell me your story.
As far as my
Your
testimony?
Your testimony.
Okay. I was married to a different lady than what I am now, and she kept on bugging me, basically, to go to church, and kept telling me to go to church, and I basically went there because I wanted to stop having that conversation, and I went there a couple of times, and one time I was there, and it was a church on the move. That's where she attended, and I was there one day, and I felt that she had a conversation with that preacher because he began telling my story and all of the things that I was doing.
Really?
And I heard from behind me, I heard my name be called. And people can argue that you're crazy or somebody could have said it or something, but whatever it really was, God used that. God called me that day, and
Yeah, that's hard to deny.
Yeah, that's one of those churches where you put your head down and raise your hand. So, so I did that and then went to the back and we had baptized and all that. But I was working at a bar. I was working at Food Scooters. And my great-grandmother went to church at Washington Avenue Baptist in Roswell. And almost every single musician I knew from that bar who had left their life of partying and drinking and gone to church was in a band at that church. And they said, well, hey, come on, you're a believer. Come over here and listen to us.
Yeah.
I wound up a Baptist. just going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So how old were you?
It was before the prison, a couple of years, 23, 24.
Oh, okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Praise God. Not many 23 or 24-year-olds come to faith.
Yeah, it was powerful that day. I thought for a second, like, she's over here telling this guy what I'm doing. Clearly she was. It was, I didn't straighten up and do what I was supposed to right away. They say that you zigzag after you're saved, and it was mostly zag for me.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, I've been at this 60 years now, and I zig and zag.
Yeah. So it ended up, it already crossed too many lines with her. We're good now. I've made amends and I've apologized and things like that.
Yeah.
We've all gone on with our lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, he grabbed me out of that church there, and then just from people I knew from a bar, because all these musicians worked for my grandpa for years.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Just went over there to hear them, and of course my great grandmother. That was her church.
Yeah.
So we're there Mother's Day anyway, so I wasn't a stranger to the place. It wasn't a hard thing to walk in, and then everybody's like rushing you to shake your hand and hey, who are you, whatever, because everybody.
I know. What about that couple that came from Lake Arthur a few weeks ago?
Okay, we went to visit them. I want to say the following Tuesday, we went to visit them. They're doing something in Texas. They're going to watch some kind of flowers bloom or something. I don't know what's going on.
Blue bonnets
in Texas. But yeah, they want to
come back.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I hope so.
They said that they had been attending for a while at someone in Midway, Assembly of God, and that guy he's a musician. We had a good conversation with that guy. Yeah, he's a music guy.
Oh, okay.
And they mess with rental properties. Or nice people. We visited them for a while. Yeah. In fact, we invited him to men's breakfast tomorrow. I don't know if they're back yet or whatever. And they were going to come on a Wednesday night, and he wound up texting me saying that she wasn't feeling well or something.
Well, that was nice of him to let you know.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll come around. Hopefully we can be a church home for them.
Well, I appreciated that they had their Bibles open and they were, and they sat out front. My goodness.
Yeah.
They're not Baptist.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. What are you doing here? What speaking of Bibles open, what's your favorite either your favorite verse, passage, or story in the Bible?
Oh goodness, I love a lot of them. I love Gideon's story. I love it when he tells the Lord that he's that his family is the least in Israel and he's the least in his family.
Yeah.
I could have said that. We lived on a street in Carlsbad that was just one short block long, and I was pretty sure nobody knew we were there, and and I had two older brothers, little hairy-legged brothers. We were nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he tells me my family's nothing, and I'm the guy who cleans the wine press.
That's right. And I'm hiding in here to grind the wheat so we can eat. Yeah, I love Gideon's story, and God calls him valiant warrior. Isn't that something? Doesn't that just send chills down you? And I love the prayers of the Bible. I pray them a lot. Of course, John 17. But there's so many verses that you can turn into a prayer. So I love those, and just lots of I've just come to a real appreciation of the Old Testament. I think I know that the King James Bible the Lord has used it in a mighty way for centuries, but I think now that we have modern translations, easier to read. I mean, I grew up memorizing that. That's the only scriptures I knew. That's pretty much all anybody had. And then in high school, I found the Good News Bible, Good News for Modern Man. I think it is probably what the Living Bible is now. Probably.
Okay.
Don't know that, but I think it is. But anyway, when I found that, when I was first saved, I just consumed it. And I also have the Message. And I don't think I ever read whole books of Scripture at one time like I do in the Message. It's so readable. You know, I know that there are people who really condemn it. And Peterson's called it a translation. He didn't call it a paraphrase. I don't know. I don't know, but I love reading it. You know, especially the Psalms. He did a fantastic job in the Psalms. Maybe not so much with Paul's. Some of those are real hard concepts, you know. And so he didn't do quite as well, I don't think, with Paul's letters. But the Psalms he did a great job with, and I enjoy them.
I'm a ESV guy. And prior to that, I just kind of bounced around, or I would grab whatever was there. Or I had one, I think it's still up there. It was King James on one side and NIV on the other.
Yeah.
But Jacob, when I started going to the discipleship class, he taught out of ESV. And I think I just stuck with it from there.
Stephen did too. And my go-to is New American Standard. I picked that up when my son was probably 2 or 3 years old. I don't know where or why, but anyway, and I've stayed with that since then. I love it. I think it's reliable. You know.
And I feel like the ESV is in between enough that somebody sitting in a pew with an NIV or a King James
exactly could follow.
I think
along.
it's fine.
Yeah. I just never could connect with the NIV. I don't know why. A lot of preachers use it. A lot of them do. I have a friend who calls it the nearly inspired version.
Oh yeah.
I think that's great because I just never could get into it. But you know, we have so many resources. And they are reliable. I know a lot of people will say King James only, but that just doesn't hold. It just doesn't hold up.
Now I'm the opposite when it comes to King James, like how you like the Message and stuff for Psalms. Like for those, like for poetry things, love King James.
Some of it is. Some of it is. But then when I read it in the Message or I read it in New American Standard, oh, that's what they mean.
Right.
You know, that's what they mean. So, but yeah, whatever will get you reading, you know, whatever will get you in there, we ought to read it. And I'm a stickler on the inerrancy of Scripture. You know, I believe every word of it. I may not understand all of it, you know, and I may have incorrect understanding, but I think it's inerrant, start to finish.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of stuff like Jesus, Flood talked about that stuff. So if it was not accurate, then he liked talking about it. Like
I know
he mentioned Jonah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean that occurred.
I read some, was listening, or maybe listening. I listen to lots of preaching, and was listening to one the other day, or read it. Anyway, Jesus quoted Deuteronomy more than any other book. I gotta check that out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't go to Deuteronomy
for
much.
That's not my go-to. Yeah.
and when Suzanne did her doctorate, she spoke on Leviticus.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I love Leviticus, and not all of it. You know, I love Numbers, not all of it, but you know, all of it. But they're just. I wish I had my name in the Bible. That's all I can think when I read Numbers. All those names. Well, his mama's proud.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Lord, I don't know, but his mama is proud.
That's funny. Oh, okay. So we've got I think, Karen, unless there's something you wanted to add or something else you wanted to talk about, I think that we've basically gone through all this.
Have.
And I've enjoyed our time together, and I appreciate it. And anytime you would like to come back and talk about something, or you have something that you're want to get out there, tell people about, or whatever, please.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, and I've enjoyed it, and I'm blown away that you would ask me, and I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that. And man, a great time we had. 2 hours here.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. It was good.
Would you dismiss us?
I would. Father God, I thank you so much that you give us brothers and sisters who share our faith. I thank you for technology. Father, I pray that you would take our time and take what we've spoken about and use it. Use it as you see fit. It's in your precious, perfect, holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So let me tell you